Welcome to the Shooter's Rest. Today we're going to be reviewing the Ransom Master Series Rest. Ransom International Corporation is the company who builds these. They're built right here in the United States and they've been in business since 1969. This rest is mainly used for testing handgun and ammunition for accuracy and repeatability. The Ransom Master Series rest is also considered the international standard in accuracy testing for handguns. Some of the places that use this device is a lot of our government agencies have to use this device to adopt a new handgun into service. Some of our law enforcement agencies use this to test firearms with. Firearm manufacturers and ammo manufacturers, they use this a lot to test their products. And you can also see it featured on a very popular television show called The Mythbusters. If you watch some of their earlier episodes, they use this device quite a bit in testing handguns. Now the different prices of it, the base plate is 30 pounds. It comes in at about $245. It's 18 inches long by 15 inches wide. It's made out of 3/8 inch plate that's machined, CNC machined on top and bottom, and it's rhino lined. Very durable coating on it. I've laid guns on it. Doesn't have any scratches on it. Very durable. The next part is the windage base. Now if you buy the windage base separately, the rest will be attached to it with a series of machine screws on top. If you buy the combo rest, the windage base and the rest is all one piece. They claim on their website that this gives it a lot more, makes it a lot more rigid and gives it a lot better accuracy, which is true if you know anything about the manufacturing and engineering field. The windage base, if you buy it separately, will be $232. The rest itself is $415. If you buy it together as a combo rest, it's $581, and you're saving around $70. Here on the back, you have your windage scale. You loosen up these two football knobs and adjust these knobs for the windage left and right. On front is your elevation knob. You have a lock nut, and you can raise and lower the elevation. Here on the back, in their instructions, they say this spring can only be compressed to 1.5 inches. If it's any more or any less, it's wrong. The trigger bar has two different screw holes and a slot, so it fits just about any trigger. So far I haven't had any trouble with the fitting of the triggers. Now what I'm going to do is I've tested 3 guns on this device to test the device to see if I'm going to be able to get the accuracy I want out of it. The 3 guns I've tested in it is the FNS-9mm, the Kimber 45, and a Ruger Blackhawk 357 Magnum. Okay, so the test that I performed was just to see how accurate the device was. I had the most trouble out of the polymer frame gun, the FNS-9mm, because it is a polymer frame gun. The way the grip inserts work is a little bit different, and what makes it so different is on metal frame guns, the grips are designed in a way that you remove the wooden grips or the grips off the gun, and it clamps down to the frame of the gun. With polymer frame guns, of course, there's no grips to be removed, so all the knurling and everything on the grips is molded into the grip insert, so it takes a little bit more to get these to seat perfectly. So because of that, they require you to shoot around 20 plus rounds of what they call settling rounds to settle the gun in the inserts and to foul the barrel nicely. One of the things I have noticed in all 3 guns is that when I was shooting and doing these tests, the temperature outside was in the 50s. And with it being so cool and with a little bit of breeze, I think the barrel was cooling down in between tests and shots, that I was always shooting a cold bore shot. So even on the video clips I'm about to show, the groupings aren't perfect, and the reasoning for that, I do believe, is because of the cold bore shots. But that's something to take into account when you're carrying a firearm for self-defense. You want to practice in a way that you're always shooting from a cold bore. So when you draw and fire your gun, you know where that round's going to go, or you're more likely to know where that round's going to go. Don't take a gun out and shoot it, 500 shots, and when you get to the, 100 or 200 shots into it, and the groups start getting really tight, thinking that your gun's going to do that every time you draw and fire it. Because a cold bore shot does take a lot of into account for accuracy. That's some of the testing that I'm going to be doing on this device. Tests like that so my viewers know when they draw and fire their gun exactly what it's going to do for them. So without further ado, the video clip you're about to see, all 3 tests were done at 20 feet from the end of the muzzle to the target, and all targets are 6-inch targets. So that kind of shows you or lets you know the grouping size that we're getting. I'll measure the grouping sizes and let you guys know exactly what the group size was of each target, and I'll put that in the description below, and I'll roll in a piece of footage at the end to show you that stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the first shot. Now remember, it's a 6-inch target and it's at 20 feet. Alright, here it is. One. Using an Android app called Range Buddy, we see here that the group size is about 0.95 inches, which is pretty good at a distance of 20 feet for an FNS 9mm. Okay, so there at the end of the video, we've seen the target. We got a 0.95 of an inch grouping at 20 feet with a polymer frame gun. I think that's pretty good in 50-degree weather. I think that first shot was definitely a cold bore shot. Now, that last shot, it hit over there by the cold bore shot. I'm thinking it might have just been a flyer. We'll see later on in more testing. Now, one of the key things I did want to point out, now this gun has already been safety checked. It is definitely unloaded. So when pulling the trigger on a polymer frame gun, I've noticed that there's a little bit of movement when depressing the trigger bar. So that movement, if you watch the laser dot there, you can see it moving. Now the further out you get with that, the more noticeable that movement is. But as long as the trigger breaks the same point, which it seems to do, then the accuracy shouldn't be affected by that. But one thing to take into account with a gun like this gun is a striker fire gun, so it takes about 7 or 8 pounds of force to pull the trigger, whereas the Blackhawk 357 and the Kimber 45, once the hammer's cocked back, you have a hair trigger. You have about a 2 or 3 pound trigger there. So it takes a lot less force, which means a lot less movement in the whole device. But as long as that movement is repeatable, I don't believe that's going to be a problem. So now we'll take a look at the next one, which will be the Kimber 45. We'll go ahead and look at a video of it firing, and at the end of it, I'll put up a picture of the target and show you the grouping size of it.
Oh, they're all right there.
Okay, looking here, we see that the group size on the Kimber 45 is 0.63 inches, which is really good. This is the best grouping I got out of all three guns.
Okay, so the last clip we just seen was the Kimber 45 being shot out of it. It had a 0.63 inch group, which was really good. That day was a little bit warmer. I didn't have hardly any wind whatsoever, and it was just a dream to shoot out of this rest. It done a really good grouping, and I think if I'd have even put more rounds through it, I think we could have even tightened that group up a little bit more. Again, that was at 20 feet, and that was a 6-inch target. The app that I'm using to get my target grouping is an Android app called Range Buddy. You import your own picture. You tell the program the size of the target, the size caliber round you're shooting, and you mark your holes, and then it figures out the grouping for you. Okay, so the next video is going to be of the Ruger Blackhawk 357 Magnum. Um, on this day, we had a whole lot of wind. I think that's why it was traveling to the left a little bit. Um, the elevation was perfect. It was dead on center. The windage, though, it kept moving to the left the more times I shot it. I'm thinking it might have either been the wind issue, which I don't know if that plays a factor at 20 feet. But if it wasn't the wind, then it's going to be that it just wasn't seated very well in the rest. But it's still, the elevation was perfect. The windage was, it kept moving to the left, as you'll see on the upcoming video. So I'll go ahead and play the video now, and we'll take a look at it.
Get after, brother.
Okay, this was by far the coldest and windiest day that I went out and shot. We only managed to get a 1.46-inch group on this one. I don't think the wind really played a factor, but I think the cold did.
Okay, the video you just got done watching was the Ruger Blackhawk 357 Magnum. Um, that was the worst grouping out of the three guns. I did get a much better group out of the gun later on after tightening the ABC knobs. I tightened them a little tighter, and it seemed to hold the gun a little bit better. And after that, I shot some more rounds, and the groups were much better with it. I didn't get it on camera, unfortunately, but there's going to be a lot more tests of these three guns coming up. All three of these guns are known to be very accurate, so I'm hoping to achieve some really cool tests with these three guns. These are the three I'm starting out with. There's going to be more guns to come in the future. My final conclusions on the device: I think it's very well built. It looks like it's going to be very durable with the rhino lining coating, and I think it's going to be something that's going to last me a lifetime. It's all very well machined, very well coated. All the threads are as smooth as butter, and it just looks like they put a lot of detail into making this a very, very well built device. I don't believe there's anything on the market, past, present, or future, that matches this. Through my research of looking this device up, I did find a device that was similar to it. The way that I understand it, they copied a lot of the details off of this device, and because of that, they were sued and got a cease and desist order on making their device. So that device is now off the market. This is the only device that I know of that you can mount a gun in and fire with a mechanism and remove all human error. Don't know of any other ones on the market like this. I think this is worth every penny that was spent on it. I think that, does the everyday person need it? No, but I do believe that one of the big markets for this is going to be people that reloads. This would be invaluable to people that's trying to get a certain load just right. This would tell them exactly what each load would do. So I think that a big market would be reloaders for this device. So just remember, if you have any questions or any comments, leave them below. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thanks for watching.